What's up, guys, and welcome back to I'll Call You Right Back podcast with me, your host. A lot of good shit to talk about this week. So much good shit. This might be the best episode ever. First things first, though. Me and my wife just came back from Streets on Carson, as usual. Had to go down there and get the fix in. 24 karat wings, steamed buns, arancini. Just every single time you go there, it's an incredible experience. And it's not even because they're sponsors of the podcast. The food there is insane. There ain't a better wing in the city. I'll tell you that right now. I'll go up against anyone with it. But definitely go down right on East Carson Street, 11th block. Tell them the podcast sent you. Streets on Carson, street foods around the world. And they are huge supporters of my guest this week. My guest this week is Steve Turner of Turner's Dairy. Turner Dairy is the creators of Turner's Premium Iced Tea. They obviously are also the creators of the incredible chocolate whole milk, but I mean, to say Turner's Premium Iced Tea and not, pop in to the same level as like Heinz ketchup, Primanti Bros, Kennywood, kind of Kennywood. It's going downhill a little bit, but they're an incredible staple in Pittsburgh. Family owned, 1930 they started in Penn Hills, and they just been pumping out quality and premium products for 89 years. You know, and the boys up at the kitchen in Streets on Carson, they take Turner's Premium Iced Tea like it's communion. They pass around a jug up there, they say a prayer, and they take a swig. And I was raised on it. I'm telling you that whenever I started this podcast, I made a list of people that I wanted to talk to. You know, I have all kinds of people on there that I want to talk to. Tom Savini, Mikey, Bigbob. I had, just a crazy amount. But at the top of this list, Turner's Dairy. Who wouldn't want to learn about the creators of such a pivotal, like I said, staple in Pittsburgh culture? Turner Dairy, 1930, they started in Penn Hills, and I was lucky enough to talk to Stephen Turner. He runs all the marketing at Turner Dairy. He came by the house with a bag full of goodies, and we sat here, and he educated me on every single thing there is to know about it. We talk about how it began. Charles Turner, his great-grandfather, started with, a truck and a cow. A truck and a cow turned into what it is today. But we talk about how it started, when it started, kind of why it started, and we go from there. We get as detailed down as to how the different milks are made, how shit gets homogenized. How do I say it? Homogenized. I say it right in the episode of the podcast. I don't know why I can't say it right now, but we talk about pasteurization. We talk about, the bottling. I got to tour Turner's Tea this week. I emailed this dude and I was like, hey man, I do a podcast where I talk to people who do interesting shit that I'm interested in, that have always sparked my interest. And I kind of just talked to him about how they got involved with that. And he hit me up and he was like, absolutely, I'll do it. Sounds great. Then he hit me up again and he was like, do you want to tour the farm? And I was like, does a bear shit in the woods? I'll be there right now if you want me to. So I went there Saturday morning, 8 a.m., and I got to tour Turner Dairy, and it was incredible. It was so cool to see. It's like, I feel like a cheap yinz version of Mike Rowe, and with dirty jobs. I wasn't doing shit there. I was just kind of looking around, but I was pretending. I was immersing myself in the surroundings, and it was so crazy to see walls and walls of milk crates. The iconic Turner's milk crate that every single person in Pittsburgh has stolen at one point. We talk about that. We talk about how, I have one in my laundry room right now, a Turner's milk crate. My dad has a couple on his boat. Your family has a couple in their house. I could guarantee it almost. But we talk about, everything there is to talk about with what they do. And, milk, different products, different awards that they won, the quality of product that they put out, the care that they put behind their product, when the tea came into play, how the tea came into play, why it's so popular, the people that they deal with, and what makes them the best dairy in Pittsburgh. And I'm honored to have him on here. I mean, Steve is a great guy. We were, picked right up off there and just had great conversation the whole time. And I was really excited. I'm really excited to drop this episode because, like I said, I mean, Primanti Brothers, Heinz Ketchup, Time Bomb Shop, Mac Miller, Heinz Ketchup, Kennywood. I said Heinz Ketchup twice, but Turner's Tea is up there with all the goats, and I'm excited about it. That's all I could say. But before we get to the episode, I did want to let everyone know Steve was cool enough to bring over a few awesome trinkets to raffle off. So I am going to post something on Instagram. You have to follow me at I'll Call You Right Back. And I'm going to post something on Instagram. It's going to be a giveaway opportunity. You're going to go on there. You're going to comment. And you're obviously going to like the post. You're going to follow me. You're going to follow Turner's Dairy at Turner's PGH. And you're going to just, comment some people on there. And on Sunday, I am going to pick some names out of a random generator, and you guys are going to win some cool shit. It may or may not be a very, very rare and sought after Turner Dairy or Turner's Premium Iced Tea t-shirt. I mean, you've definitely seen them around, but where can you get one, you ask? And you can't get one. Only the special people get one, and we're gonna raffle one away. And I got some stickers for everyone. I got an "I'll Call You Right Back" shirt. I got a pin. I got some other stickers, and it's gonna be a good time. So without further ado, episode 74 of "I'll Call You Right Back" podcast with Steve Turner of the legendary Turner Dairy.
Telephone.
Hello?
Telephone.
I'll call you right back. I'll call you right back.
Telephone.
I'll Call You Right Back podcast. This is definitely the most welcoming platform for anyone that's never done anything like this, because I'm like super transparent about shit. Like, you could swear whatever, and I'm not like super critical, and I'm very, very like uneducated on everything. So
right.
I just hope that people are, like I've talked, like that beekeeper lady that I talked to on here, I just sounded like a moron the whole time. I'm just like, well, what does that mean? And she's just, every single thing she's explaining out. So I'm sure that you'll have to run through pretty much a lot of the shit we ran through before. But so we took a tour of Turner's Dairy. I'm not going to limit it to Turner's Tea. But what would you say your most famous product is?
Definitely our premium iced tea.
Premium
sure.
Iced Tea.
Yeah,
it's like it's a staple in Pittsburgh. And I mean, I posted a picture today of Charles Turner. I believe, is that your great grandfather?
Yeah.
Well,
there's three of them. There's my great grandfather, my grandfather, and my dad.
They're all Charles?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I would assume this one was your great grandfather. This was that picture from like 1940.
Yeah.
Him standing in front of that cow.
Yep.
And that was where we were touring.
Yeah. Yeah. Right there in Penn Hills. That's where the farm actually used to be. We've been in the same spot for 89 years now. That's
insane. 89 years, about to be 100 years making stuff. And I looked at that picture and I was like, damn, because whenever we were touring through, I asked you like when this started and like how it started, and you said it was just him and a couple cows and a truck.
Yeah. Yeah, his dad, so Charlie's dad was farming in Wilkinsburg, and he decided for whatever reason that he was going to split off of him and moved way out into the country to Penn Hills in 1930. He had a couple cows, old truck, and rented the farm from Grace Fry. It was during the Depression, so he rented it for the cost of the taxes, so she wouldn't lose the farm, basically. And then, a couple cows and an old truck.
Now, were you ever was it ever brought to your attention why they got into this career path, being dairy farmers?
No, I think that's just kind of what they.
That was just what they did.
What they did, yeah. My great grandfather Charlie, that's what his dad did, and that's what he grew up doing. And they just had some differences, so he decided he was going to go and do his own thing, and in his mind, I guess, do it better.
Yeah, do it better. I mean, so for people that don't know, you what's your position there?
I'm in marketing and sales.
So marketing and sales. Now, you are also a Turner.
Yep. So
you're also from the family. And now I don't know what it's like. What is it like to be in a whole like Turner's is arguably, it's equivalent to being as popular as Heinz. You know what I mean? It's that big for sure from an outsider's point of view. For you to be in the family and grow up with Turner's tea attached to your name, what's that like?
It's interesting. I mean, everybody. The one question I always got growing up in school and whatnot was, so at my school we had Turner's products, right, like tea, milk, and whatnot.
Yeah.
So all my friends would always be like, why do you have to pay for that? And I'm like, the school pays for it, so I got to pay for it. I don't know. And it's so everybody always asks, don't you get all that tea for free and whatnot? And
that's a good point.
To another point is, it's just like everybody else, to another degree, just we're still a regular family.
Yeah, I guess it's just I mean, it's weird because everywhere you look, Turner's Tea is pretty much. I mean, you have a couple other brands in the city, but Turner's is definitely you see them at fairs, you see them at everywhere. You see them everywhere. So now, growing up, did you have any interest in being in this field in the beginning? Did you plan on that?
Yes and no. I always kind of knew it was an option. It's always there. I worked there summers in high school and college and whatnot, doing painting buildings and digging holes and stuff like
all
that.
That stuff.
Right. Yeah. A lot of stuff nobody else wanted to do.
The grunt work.
Yeah. When it was 95 degrees outside and blazing sun, got to paint white buildings white and all that stuff.
Unreal.
But yeah, then going into college, I started out in engineering. Just kind of decided that I didn't really like calculus all that much.
Yeah.
So I decided I was going to switch my major and go into business and go work for the family's business. So
your dad works there?
Yep.
And do you have any brothers or sisters?
I have one brother. He lives down in Dallas, Texas.
Oh, okay. So
we have currently there's I think 11 family members working in the business. Most of them are in my dad's generation.
Oh, okay.
So there's 8 or 9. I think eight in my dad's generation, and then my dad's uncle is still working in the business, and then me and my cousin in my generation.
So the oldest one is your dad's uncle.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And so Turner started in 1930.
Yep.
And that's crazy. That picture was wild to see that picture. I mean,
yeah.
I don't even know why. I was just damn, that's to be where we were, walking around that plant, or would you call it a plant? Dairy?
Plant facility?
Yeah, facility, I guess.
Something
But to see all them hills in the backgrounds and shit, you're just damn, at one point there was nothing here.
Right.
And
now all those hills that are in that picture, there's houses on them all.
Yeah, everything's just ransacked.
Right, there's a school next to us, and in the distance, if you're up on top of the hill, you can see Monroeville Mall and all that from where we are. So it's pretty wild.
Yeah, it's definitely crazy. So whenever you're younger and you're in, I mean, ever since you've been born, Turner's has been on the well known, they've been doing well since you could ever remember, right?
Yeah, and it's definitely over the last, I don't know, handful or 10 years, it's really started to grow. There's definitely tons of competition in the dairy industry.
Yeah.
And and nationally, the industry declines for 3, 4, 5% every year. And we've been blessed to not have that happen to us.
Yeah. Why do you think it declines?
There's just so many different options for people to drink out there. I mean, you have convenience stores like Sheetz. They're advertising 500 options in their cold vault. And then but back in the day, there was basically milk, juice, and pop.
Yeah.
And that was about it. But now there's every kind of drink you can imagine. There's dozens of new drinks coming out.
I never thought about that.
Yeah.
I never thought at first, whenever you said that, I was like, oh, maybe it's like people like not drinking milk and like drinking like the almond milk and shit like that.
And that's definitely part of it for sure. But I think it's more just the total options that are available out there. And
that's a good point. Sheetz has a whole like a literal walls filled with drinks.
Right, like half the walls in their store are drinks.
Wow. Yeah, I guess. And I mean, like, I guess like milk isn't your go-to just, every day. Let me just grab a milk.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like milk is more like breakfast, like eating with a meal or something. Like, I don't know the last time I just went and grabbed like a pint of milk or some shit. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
It's,
and the other part of it is that until recently, the industry as a whole has done essentially nothing to be exciting. Right.
Yeah.
Like there's been white milk and there's been chocolate milk.
Yeah, and maybe a strawberry milk.
Yeah, exactly. So that's another reason why we've I don't know, kind of accepted the fact that we were kind of at this point in the market, like we had all this market share, right? And then we did nothing for the last 50 years.
Yeah, I
to
mean,
keep any consumers interested in
if
our
it ain't
products.
broke, don't fix it though.
Right. But the other side is like it was broke. Like we were doing nothing.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point. And now you guys have a whole plethora full of, you see like a 10-cent word. I like to try to incorporate big words in
There
here.
you go, big words.
Yeah, big words. But you like to you guys have how many different flavors of milk now?
Yeah, so we still have like our staples, like your chocolate milk, vanilla milk, strawberry milk. But then probably 5 years ago, we started doing our limited edition flavors. So
what was the first one?
Chocolate peanut butter was the first one right out of the gate.
I remember seeing that on Facebook, and like I remember seeing people sharing it, and I was like, "What?" Like chocolate, and like people were like, "Oh shit!" Like going crazy over it because
people were going nuts. Like the first time we did it, we had no idea how much to make. Right, like this could fail or it could be like great. So we just kind of picked them out. All we had was half gallons. We decided we're making 20,000 half gallons. When it sells out, it sells out. Because we couldn't get the chocolate peanut butter to put in it fast enough to get any more.
So really?
Right. So it was a special order thing.
Yeah.
We couldn't just get it. And we sold, the first time we did the chocolate peanut butter, we sold that 20,000 half gallons in 8 days.
8 days.
It was a mess. It was good and bad. People were mad at us because we were out of it so fast and like.
Now, whenever you guys released all that, what is like so first of all, let's start from the beginning. Who decides the different flavors? Like, are you guys all just in a big room and you're like, what could we do? Is it like what could we do that's different? Like, what could we do that's like kind of cutting edge?
Yeah. So there's like a little group of us, people from the plant side, sales side, marketing. So basically the idea of that is that like the sales guys don't just like decide to do something that the plant can't do. And
they can't do.
Right. And then the plant doesn't like decide something that nobody's actually going to like.
And that's the correct way to do things. But it seems a lot of companies don't do things like that. Everyone's just like, yeah, we could definitely do that. And then they go back to their grunt workers and they're like, you got to make this happen.
Right. Yeah. And that's not to say that we get it right all the time, but we've done a fairly good job. And we've definitely had some losers out there. Like there was one we did, I think it was 2 Christmases ago, maybe. I can't remember exactly when, but it was gingerbread milk, right?
Gingerbread milk. I don't know if I've even seen that one.
Yeah, not a lot of people liked it. and we had one guy that tasted it, and he's like, I don't know, it just doesn't taste right. So, but the rest of us were like, no, it's fine. It turns out the one guy was right, and we should have listened to him. And
so that first peanut butter chocolate milk, you guys came up with that idea, and you are just like, hey, let's do some peanut butter and some chocolate milk. And you like what's the process from there that expands, and like how you kind of put that into stores?
Yeah, so we've gotten a lot better at it, but we get like samples in from our suppliers, so they can make up different flavorings. Like we get most of our like flavored milk flavors, I guess, from Forbes Chocolate out in Cleveland. So they make a whole bunch of different flavors. They make like the chocolate peanut butter one and whatnot. So we'll get samples from them and a few other suppliers to find out like kind of if they have a mix that tastes good and that we think will be a good product. Now we've gotten some in that we think will be great products, but we can't find a good flavor, so we just haven't done them yet.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, now you have, how many different flavors now? I saw orange cream. I saw chocolate peanut butter. Wasn't there some peppermint?
Yeah, we've done a few times for the holidays. We've done a chocolate peppermint. We've done the chocolate peanut butter, chocolate banana, orange cream.
I saw the chocolate banana. I never got to try that one yet.
Chocolate banana is probably my favorite one that we've done.
Oh, that's so good.
I love the chocolate peanut butter, but the chocolate banana is...
Yeah, chocolate covered bananas are like I always get bananas in chocolate and like ice cream and shit like that. Yeah, it's just such a good adding flavor. So before we even get too crazy into this, because I have a million questions for you, I do an opening segment with all the guests called "What's in the Cup." What's in the cup? Now, for you, this is a little bit. This is a special occasion because, you're obviously not going to be like, "Hey, let me get a brisk." It's like you have the Turner's stamp on your heritage. So right now, what are you drinking?
We got the Turner's Premium Iced Tea in the paper carton.
And while we were taking this tour, I asked you, I said, what's your favorite way to consume Turner's Premium Tea? And you said paper carton.
Yeah. There's just something about that paper carton. It's just, I've gotten used to the taste of it versus the plastic. Same product in it, but it just tastes a little different out of the carton.
It's just, it has that, it's almost like, I loved, like whenever I drank pop, a fountain Pepsi was like the elite for me. It was the elite, a fountain of it. And, it was like a fountain, then a can, and then a bottle. But like the packaging definitely
it definitely influences taste for sure.
Influences it, I think. Whether it be
like cans, you used to get like a metal taste out of cans.
Yeah, kind of like a metallic-y like aftertaste in it.
Yeah.
But the paper stuff, you could definitely tell the iced tea that's in the paper carton for sure. Right. But it's good.
Like me, the people that like it in the paper carton, that's the only way
they swear
to
by
have
it, right?
Yeah.
And I am drinking, honestly, this is a new product that I was doing some research today for recording, and I saw that Turner's released unsweetened brewed tea, and I am an unsweetened guy, and this is fantastic. I have to tell you, this is fantastic.
Yeah, it's a new product for us, and I don't know that it'll be as great as sales wise anyway as the premium tea, but it's definitely a good. There's plenty of people out there doing it, like your Gold Peak and Pure Leaf and all those kind of things.
For sure. Now we have to, like I said, I'm transparent about this. So obviously we're going to highlight all the goods, but that paper carton of tea has how much sugar in it?
Let's see here. 22 grams of sugar.
So 22 grams of sugar. This is a good alternative for someone that doesn't want to just get a quick dose of.
Not everybody wants sweetened tea. Some people are looking for that option that's a little bit healthier. There's no, like you said, there's no lime, and it says it right on the carton. There's 22 grams of sugar, and if you don't want the sugar, then
people know exactly what they're getting
for you.
People absolutely know what they're getting.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's just so much shit to go over. So in the beginning, whenever I wanted to decide to hit you up, I was thinking it would be awesome to talk to people in the city that do things that always kind of meant something to me and always kind of sparked my interest. And I've talked to people that sparked my interest, but Turner's Tea, as far as like, growing up was like a staple in our household. I originally grew up in McKeesport. I told you that while we were touring, and you told me that McKeesport is like,
Yeah, I don't even think people drink water in McKeesport. I think it's just Turner's tea.
It's Turner's tea. I mean, like that, ever since I could remember, it's been, for a while, there was a gas station my dad would go, and he would just get a milk crate full, and we had a fridge in the back, and he would just toss a case back there. And all the time.
Like the beer fridge in the basement, but you got a little Turner's tea in there.
100%. Because like we didn't really drink. Like no one in our family, there was never beer in there really. It was always just like Turner's tea, water, and like some different like pops and shit like that. But did you have that growing up? Like a fridge at your house?
Yeah, there's always stocked.
I bet.
That's another thing. Like what we were talking about earlier. People always ask me when I was growing up. They're like, they'd like come to my house and like expect it to be like totally packed full.
Yeah,
just like everything possible.
An entire fridge of all the different varieties.
Right.
That's funny. So, you definitely had that growing up. I mean, in McKeesport, that's why I said like you would see it at fairs. We had International Village, which was like, International Village is probably like one of the biggest events in McKeesport's repertoire. And I mean, you basically
10-cent word there.
Like that? I'm trying to put them in there. You go there and it's basically you just eat a bunch of different foods from different, different countries. There's people that are making all kinds of wild shit. But every single place you look, there's a stand with Turner's tea, and they served the paper pints, and then they had the squirt bottles all the time. And you never saw like the competitors. I don't know where that came from. I don't know like. So how do people really decide on you compared to like how many other iced teas are there? Is there like you hear Schneider's iced tea?
Yeah. There's Schneider's, Marburgers, and Gallagher's are probably the.
I don't think I've ever heard of Marburgers.
Yeah, they're up in like Evans City area, up north.
I don't know. I've definitely heard of Gallagher's, but I've never seen them around here. Really, it was always just like Snyder's or Turner's. But I honestly feel like 90% of the places you go always has Turner's stocked. And like, how do you think people decide on where it is? Like, is it location based, or do people contact you directly and say like, "Hey, we want your products"?
Like stores?
Yeah. Stores or any place that has Turner's.
Yeah, it's part of we'll have people give us a call and say, hey, can you we're opening up this store in McKeesport or wherever, and then they'll ask us if we can deliver, and we'll talk to them and get it figured out.
Wow, man! Are you guys pretty like lenient with who you guys are opening business with, or is it like with your company growing, are you guys having to be more selective, or do you have like only enough capacity to give as many people bottles? Like, how does that really work?
Yeah, we have like minimum deliveries.
Okay.
We can't just deliver to like a case of tea to it's whatever spot. Like it's gotta cover the costs and whatnot.
I guess that makes sense for sure.
But yeah, as long as somebody can hit a minimum delivery, and there's no issue.
No issue at all. So when's like your first exposure of like learning anything about the facility? Like whenever you started, like whenever you were younger, were you always like, did you know about like work there, or was it just like, we had this tea in our fridge and like this was just part of our family? Like were you going there and like kind of learning about it back then at all?
I mean, when I was young, it was just like there's the Turner's milk and whatnot, and like that's in the fridge, and that's what I drink. But like as I grew up and was like working in the summers and whatnot, doing work around the place, definitely just learning by being around it.
Yeah.
And doing different projects, whether it was in the like building coolers or doing work in the plant, or like I did some lab work over some summers, and I just kind of
learning different positions there.
Right. Yeah, and just seeing how it works from that level.
And you've been there for how long?
Full time's 5 years.
5 years you've been there, half a decade. It's crazy. We're getting old.
Time flies.
Time is flying, and it's nuts. And I mean, I'm sure you love your job. I mean, I'm sure it all comes with its good and its bad, like everyone's jobs.
Yeah.
But so how do I want to phrase? So start me off from the beginning of the process. Like you told me it's hard for me because like we went through this whole tour and you gave me a lot of this information. So I want to like time it out and like kind of
walk it through.
Yeah, kind of walk it through. So like, you know, I mean, like you explained to me the beginning of it. Like he started out with a couple cows, but then we started getting into like I asked you where the cows like where things are coming from, and you say that you have you work with local farms, like you guys have local farms and everything. So kind of explain to me the process of like how this works.
Yeah. So first I'll drop a bomb here. Just
go ahead, drop it.
We don't own any cows.
You don't own
any right there. Yeah. Everybody always asks, "Where's the cows?" Right?
Yeah.
We sold our cows in 1998. Yeah, it got a little hard to farm in the middle of Penn Hills, like trucking manure out, trucking feed in. It just didn't make sense for us to do anymore.
But yinz did for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, we had cows and we're milking cows right there in Penn Hills until 1998.
Have you ever personally milked a cow?
I have not, no.
Never in your life?
Nope. Man,
I've never milked a cow, and I've always wanted to. I put something on Instagram. It said I'm interviewing Turner's Tea. Like, ask any questions if you want to know it. And the first question was, "What is the proper way to milk a cow?" And I knew it was a joke, but I was curious if you ever did.
Yeah, I never milked a cow. It's
a bucket list. We still got to work on that.
Right. Yeah. And you think if anybody would have done it, it would have been me.
Yeah. I mean, like, hey, you never know.
Sorry, we'll get there. But yeah, the whole got to walking through the process. So we work with like right around 40 local family farms. And they're all within 70 miles or an hour of our facility in Penn Hills. And they're all located in Westmoreland, Indiana, Armstrong, and Cambria counties. So they're all right in our backyard here, basically. But so we'll get loads of milk in from them. It gets shipped in on tank trucks that you've probably seen on the roads. And then once it gets to our facility, our plant, they back the truck into a receiving bay, and usually there's more than one farm's milk on each tank load. Most of our farms are pretty small. They range from the smallest one is 44 cows, and the biggest one is I think it's around 400. Most of them are right around like 100 cows.
Yeah.
So they aren't making full truckloads of milk every day. So a hauler will go around, pick up from several different farms.
Now it will mix the milk from different farms together.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And before they go and pick up from that farm, they'll get a little sample from each farm. We'll get back to that in a second here. So they'll get a little sample from each one, and then put the rest of the milk on the tank truck, and then bring it to our place, and they'll unload it into the silos. But before it gets unloaded, we'll take a sample from the whole truck, so all the different farms' milk in one sample, and then we'll test that for bacteria counts. We'll test it for antibiotics and added water. And the government standards for bacteria in milk from multiple farms is 300,000 per milliliter. And every day our farms are coming in under 10,000.
Under 10,000.
Yeah.
And you were explaining that the way you guys kind of pick your farms that you work with and kind of decide what milk you take is off of, that's an incorporation of what you work it off of, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. We're very selective with the farms that we choose. If they have a reputation for being clean farms, taking care of their animals and just doing things right, I mean, that's the recipe for a farm that we want to work with.
That's pretty much what it boils down to as far as like the bacteria count and everything, right?
Right. Yeah. It's basically what that comes down to is making sure the animals are healthy, making sure they're clean, and making sure that once the cow is milked, that milk gets cold as fast as it can.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's really what it comes down to, and it's just paying attention to the little things every single day.
Yeah, because all them inches add up into be a mile. Like
Right.
all them little things. Like if you're taking a bunch of shortcuts, it's going to show.
Right, exactly. And once we get the milk into our plant, there's nothing we can do to make it any better.
Yeah.
Like once it tastes bad from having high bacteria counts, there's nothing we can kill those bacteria, but there's nothing we can do to make it taste better.
Yeah.
So once the milk is bad, it's bad, right?
Yeah.
So we prefer to start out with the absolute highest quality milk that we can, and then that's going to translate the whole way through the line. So
That makes sense. So whenever you guys are, trying to figure out farms that yinz are working with, are yinz going and like inspecting like their farms and everything like that, and kind of going over with what it is?
yeah, so we have a full-time farm inspector.
Really?
Yeah, he's out on our farms pretty close to every day. He'll survey or inspect every single one of them 3 times a year. In addition to doing other things, but yeah, that's his main job, is making sure that the farms are staying on top of things, helping them solve problems when they have problems. And
Yeah.
I want to say he has a great relationship with all of our farms.
That's wild. That makes sense though. So they go into this loading bay.
Yep.
And you back them in there, and you offload all this shit, and then you were showing me this testing room that you guys, test everything in. Now you're testing everything before you put them loads of milk into your tanks, correct?
Right. Yeah. Before we even hook up the truck, we gotta test the milk for that bacteria count to make sure it's meeting our standards, to make sure there's no antibiotics in the milk, and to make sure there's no added water. And that's an old thing from back in the day when it was all about volume. Now farmers get paid based on their components, so like your butter, fat, protein, things of that nature. Back in the day, people used to stick a hose in the top of the tank to inflate their volume. That doesn't really happen anymore, but
you probably can't get past that now.
Right.
So yeah, because it would make sense. You would have to test that, because if that whole truck has like if it's bad, you can't obviously put that into your tanks, because that ruins everything.
Right,
What happens if a truck comes in and it's bad?
Yeah, so we'll have to reject the load, and then we'll send the truck out to basically get dumped in a manure pit. Basically.
Oh, really? That's all it is? Is
Yeah.
Dumps it out.
Yeah, because that milk's no good. We can't use it anymore. And depending on if there's antibiotics in it, we can't, then it's dumped no matter what. It can't get sent anywhere. But if it just doesn't meet our bacteria standards, we can send it to like a cheese plant somewhere. But we just won't necessarily use it because it doesn't meet our standards.
Yeah.
But as long as it's within government standards, somebody else in theory could take it. So.
Now, the cows that these farms are using, I saw that you posted something the other day. There was an article about that other milk company. They had a video come out that was showing them abusing animals.
Yeah.
But and then you guys posted that you guys work with some acronym. I cannot remember what it is, and that basically was saying that the cows get inspected by a veterinarian multiple times a year.
Yeah, so what that program is, it's basically an animal welfare program. It's called NYSCHAP, NYSCHAP. It's a program out of New York State. They developed it in conjunction with Cornell University. Basically, what they're doing there is to make sure that the farmers are taking care of their cows, right? They're treating them right and not doing things that they shouldn't.
Yeah.
So, and then they get audited by a licensed state veterinarian. I think it's every year, every other year. And then our farm inspector, he's on those farms, like I said, 3 times a year at least. So he's checking on the quality of the milk, but also he's checking on the animals as well to make sure they're in good health. And
yeah, and I believe I read a post where it said that all your farms they use cow manure rather than artificial fertilizer.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was trying to read all these posts and kind of gain some knowledge, but I'm just too dumb to understand what it all means. Like whenever you're saying like this milk is coming in and you're checking for antibiotics, like no cow should have any antibiotics in them. Is that correct or
Right. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
See, I never knew.
And when there's a cow on a farm that's sick, they'll treat it with antibiotics, but they just gotta dump that cow's milk until it's clear.
Yeah, and it runs its course, right?
Right. So then they'll send a sample of that cow's milk to us. We'll test it to make sure that it is antibiotic free. And then once we get that cleared, then they can put it back in with the rest of the herd.
Okay. So, all right. So after you guys are offloading all this truck and putting all this deposit into these big ass tanks, what did you say? They were 55,000 or
50,000 gallons.
50,000 gallon silos.
Yeah.
And right next to that silo, you guys had that orange juice concentrate.
Yep. Yeah, we have another silo for orange juice concentrate, and then there's a silo behind it for skim milk after we separate the raw milk. Well, once we get the raw milk in, we separate it into skim milk, cream, and then farm milk. And farm milk is about 3.8% fat. So then we have our three main ingredients to make any milk product that we need to.
Now, how do you do that separation?
Basically like a giant centrifuge, and it spins at I think 3,500 RPM, and that's gonna take the cream. Since the cream's lighter, it goes up through the middle, and all the skim milk goes out to the sides of the centrifuge, and goes out a bigger pipe on the side.
Nuts. And you asked me a question. You said, what would you think? In your opinion, what would you think would be heavier, cream or skim milk? Is that what the question you was asking, right? So I immediately knew that it had to be the opposite of what I thought it would be. Because like cream, you would think is heavier,
right? Especially because everybody calls it heavy cream.
Heavy cream. You think it, and I feel like it's it's just a mental thing that if you hold a pint of heavy cream and a pint of skim milk, I'm sure that you will feel that the cream. You just think it's
at the end of the day, it's not that drastic.
Yeah.
Like a gallon of skim milk's like 6 pounds, and then a gallon of cream's like 8.3 pounds. So we're not talking pounds.
Nothing crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay.
But
so
it's still a question
crazy.
that everybody gets wrong because they think it's
never.
cream.
Yeah, I immediately was like, oh, got to be cream. But then I was like, this has to be a trick question. But a thing that I noticed whenever we were walking through there, so. This podcast is gonna be everywhere because I already took a tour with you, and I have to. Shit's just gonna keep popping into my head, so people are obviously gonna deal with it. They're pumped anyway that you're on here, but while we were walking, there was like puddles of water with like foam on the ground, and I was like, "What is this for?" Like, are you guys? And I originally thought it was that you guys had to just like always be cleaning shit off, like immediately, like once something's done with that area, you're just immediately cleaning it. And you said, "What is it for?"
Yeah, so those are mostly on like entry doors coming in or out of the plant. Basically what that is, so you walk through a sanitizer and it cleans off your shoes so you're not bringing any outside bacteria into the plant on your shoes.
Almost blew my mind whenever you said that. I was like, what?
Yeah.
I just think that was awesome.
There's even more than I know, just like little stuff like that, like everywhere.
Yeah, that's the shit that I like is like the small the small little things like that add up, the little quirks. So after you can separate this into the three main components, what's the next process of it all?
All right, so after that point we'll start batching. So if we're making 2% milk, for example, we'll blend some of that farm milk with skim milk to make 2% milk. Basically so everybody says you got the whole milk, 2%, 1%, and skim. Right?
Yeah.
So whole milk is 3.25% butter fat or 3.25% fat. 2% milk, 2% fat, 1% skim is fat-free milk. So we'll take those different components and make our different products. And for chocolate milk, then we'll, depending on if we need whole chocolate milk or 1% or skim, we'll blend those with the milk and the cream, or milk and skim milk, and then we'll basically take that and put it we'll put 200 gallons in a giant blender. We'll mix in our cocoa powder, sugar, and
crack.
Yeah, no, none of that in the chocolate milk.
That was another question that 4 people submitted. Is there crack in the drink? I swear, 4 people asked that. It's hilarious.
Quick answer is no.
Yeah, quick answer. No. But
yeah, so when we're making our chocolate milk, we'll blend up our ingredients in this blender, and basically it's like a super concentrated chocolate milk at that point. Then we'll take that kind of concentrated like slurry or whatever you want to call it, and put it into a tank with the rest of the milk, and then that'll make like 4,000 gallons of milk, chocolate milk.
And I mean, how do you guys decide how much to make of which? Just by studies on like how much is selling and everything?
So we have a production manager, and basically what he's watching our inventory in the cooler every day to see, like, he'll come in at like 3 a.m. to basically count all of the product in the cooler to see what we loaded out the night before to put on the trucks to go out at different stores and whatnot. So he'll go in at like 3 o'clock in the morning, count everything, and decide what kind of, and we have different par levels for what we, like, if we need, and I'm just throwing numbers out. I don't actually know what they are, but
yeah.
So like iced tea pints. Let's say we need to have 5,000 of them in the cooler for enough to load out for the next day.
Yeah.
So if we got 2,000 of them, he knows he's got to make 3,000 of them that day.
Oh, okay. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Now, how far in advance are orders from like your clients? Like, is there people that puts out that just have like steady orders? Like every Wednesday we want 4 cases, every Friday we want a couple cases, or is it basically just like people are putting in orders as they need it?
Some have standing orders. There's not tons of customers that do that. Most of them are basically ordering the day before by 2 p.m. for the next day's delivery.
Oh, really? That's soon, I guess.
So most of the product is like less than a day or less old that's getting loaded out.
Wow.
We keep it pretty tight. With milk, it has a pretty short shelf life. Like with the state only lets you put 17 days on it, even if it'll last longer. So we got to make sure we keep those codes really tight so that we're sending out fresh product every day.
Yeah. And I mean, like, we were talking about while we were there, like, as far as like sell by date, Best Buy, and like shit like that. Like, I don't, so Turner's Milk has, what does it say on there? Expires a date?
No, it's a sell by date.
Sell by date.
Yeah. That's like a hopelessly confusing thing in the entire food industry.
100%.
Because there's like some people have sell by dates, some have use by dates, best by dates. Like it's just hopelessly confusing. So
like, give me a real answer. When is it still, like, when do you think it's still good by? Like, if you have sell by, what's today, the 10th, June 10th, and it says sell by June 10th, when is it safe to drink until?
If it's been kept cold, easily a week past that date.
Yeah, okay, but not, it shouldn't anything past that.
It depends, but yeah, I would say generally
to be safe around there, safe. Around a week. Yeah. Okay.
And now that's if it's kept cold. Like,
yeah, got to be kept cold.
If you're out at the store and you like went to the grocery store and you stopped at like 4 other places on a 90-degree day, like it's probably not going to be as cold as it should be by the time you get home.
Yeah, so maybe 3 days, 2 days. But like I would always, like, when my parents would buy shit, I would see, like, you'd see on lunch meat, like, used by this day, and obviously, like, I'm a lunatic, and if it says the expiration date, I'm like, oh, it's done.
Whatever date's on it, you're
it's
just like,
done.
Well, that's
like, if I had milk in there that said sell by June 10th, I would drink it tomorrow if I needed it, but after that, it would be just dumped. I'm not a big milk drinker, though. Do you drink a lot of milk?
I drink a lot of chocolate milk, yeah.
I mean, I'll drink chocolate milk if I had it, but I just, like, as far as, like, milk, though, like, I don't drink a lot of milk. I don't drink a lot of dairy products. It just destroys my stomach.
Lactose intolerance?
I don't think so, because I could rip through ice cream, but I mean, milk is just
if you could rip through ice cream, you're probably not lactose intolerant.
I just don't like. I mean, it's just a white milk is just like. Ugh. I remember my parents used to make me drink white milk whenever you were eating like spaghetti, and I'm just like, what the hell kind of mix is that? Like,
there's some things it doesn't mix great with.
Like, if you think about that, like, did your parents ever make you do that? Drink like milk was like something that was always with spaghetti, and I'm just like, what the fuck kind of like situation is that? Red sauce with dairy milk. I don't know. I didn't get it. But anyway, get back on course. So you guys you make that 3 different ingredients. That's how you kind of decide like how much you guys are putting out. Now, when did, if you guys are doing dairy, like you had 89 years to kind of perfect how you guys do dairy and everything like that. When did iced tea and like all these other, like what was the next product besides the different milks?
We probably started making juice before the iced tea, like your apple juice, orange juice, things like that.
Yeah.
But then, and probably some things that other people don't even know about because it's been so long, is we actually used to make sausage. We raised turkeys. We used to sell turkeys. And
really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Back in the day, we used to have
around when? Like 90s or before?
No, before that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We probably stopped doing it sometime in the 80s.
Huh. Yeah. I never knew that. So you guys had like an actual like farm, like you had all kinds of other shit going on too.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah, I never knew that. Do you know how many products you have offhand?
It's a great question. Probably somewhere around. We have a few hundred SKUs, I would say.
Hundreds?
Yeah, a few hundred.
Okay.
And now that's not necessarily all different products.
Like, yeah, but that's just
like the premium tea. We have gallons, half gallons, quarts. We have 2 different pints. We got half pints. So like there's tons of different sizes.
I get what you're saying now.
Each one.
But like, so whenever we were going through there, I was like, oh, you guys have. I didn't even realize this. I mean, like I hear Turner's and I just think of tea automatically. But yinz obviously have milk. Yinz obviously, but then I started seeing. I read that you guys just went to some Los Angeles international dairy competition, and yinz won 7 awards for 7 different products. I believe one of them was the heavy whipping cream.
Yeah. So we. At the LA International Show, we won 7 awards for, we got, I believe it was gold for whole milk, heavy cream, and cottage cheese. And then we got silver for our whole chocolate milk and brown.
Silver?
Yeah.
They didn't give you gold for that.
Yeah, right.
Come on. My buddy was just telling me today, he was like, honestly, dude, Turner's chocolate milk is the best thing of all time.
Yeah.
It is. It's so good. Now, I'm interrupting everything about this. People are going to understand with this podcast. I'm excited. You got to understand that this is a little bit more unorganized than I would like it to be, but shit's just popping into my head. So how does it even get like graded out there? Like you have to ship your milk out there?
Yeah.
And that brings up another question. Is there Turner's outside of this state?
Not really.
Okay.
Like a little bit of like Ohio and West Virginia.
Yeah, probably just like the touching. But
yeah, just a little bit. For the vast majority, it's like Western PA.
So how do you guys get milk that you guys are happy with to give them to sample?
Yeah, so we basically it's coolers with a lot of ice. That's how we ship them.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, so we'll
probably a pain in the ass.
Yeah, there's two like big competitions for fluid milk. There's the one in LA that we were just talking about, and then the World Dairy Expo in Madison, Wisconsin every year.
World Dairy Expo.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, so you can ship that out there, and how many different products did you enter?
This year we entered 7, so we got an award for.
Oh shit! No big deal or nothing. Yeah. Entered 7. Now, how do you guys decide like what you enter?
Basically, at the end of the day, is probably products that we want to market. Basically, so like we did our whole chocolate milk, right? It's a great product. Chocolate milk and flavored milk sales are one of the few things that are like increasing in the dairy industry. So we wanted to make sure we tested that to make sure it's a good product. Similar thing with whole milk. Whole milk sales are one of the few things that's growing in the dairy industry.
Really?
Yeah. And then the other one that's now like your regular white milk is basically what's declining, like 1% and skim are the worst. But then also we just started making a lactose-free milk
I saw that.
August of last year. So about almost a year we've been making it. So we sent that out to get tested as well.
And what did that place?
We got a bronze on that one.
All right. Now, I mean, that ain't bad for a year.
Yeah.
Doing a year of that ain't bad at all. Now, did yinz? I guess tea is not dairy. Like, you didn't put that in there.
Yeah. Tea's outside of those competitions.
Do you have any competitions that you do put the tea in?
I haven't found any like tea competitions out there.
Man, that's a place I want to go, is a tea competition. I love tea.
Yep.
Turner's, though, I mean, 7 awards at the international, and that's a big deal out there. I mean, I'm not a dairy guy, so I don't know if that's a big deal
absolutely.
or not.
And it like these kind of competitions are like only people that think they're going to win enter the awards.
Yeah.
Like
it's a big risk.
Right. Yeah.
So you want to be confident in it.
Like if you're not somebody that's like super focused on quality, like you're more focused on like price, like you're probably not interested in entering in these contests because you're probably not going to win. So like, whereas somebody like us, we're like solely focused on the quality of our product. So we want that third party verification that we have good products as part of it. But yeah,
that makes sense. Now, whenever you're out there, like how many different people have products in there? Like if you have like what did you get gold on there?
Whole milk, heavy cream, and cottage cheese.
So how many other different cottage cheeses and whole milks are there that you're going up against?
I'm not sure what the total number is.
I mean, is it something small like 4 or 5, or is it like more?
Oh no, it's dozens.
Oh shit!
At least, yeah.
Damn. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, because if that's definitely dozens.
Yeah, we weren't like first out of one.
Yeah, I didn't know if there's like 3 people. You know,
right? Yeah.
But that's pretty. I mean, that's pretty awesome. So like for you to be in that company firsthand, like how big is that for you guys to get those awards?
Oh yeah, having that kind of, like I said, third party verification is definitely important.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we're not in business to try to like win awards.
Yeah.
So
obviously.
like the biggest. So like it's definitely important for sure.
Let me rephrase it. I'm more or less saying like how big of a deal is it for like a company to like have that to say like, oh, award-winning milk or whatever? Is that like, does that help you with sales and shit like that? Like, I don't know if necessarily if I would see, your whole milk and it said like 1 gold at this, like, I don't know if that would make a big deal to me.
I think it makes more of a difference to like our customers. I
guess that makes sense.
Like we have a lot of like healthcare and school business, right? So they're having a really high quality product is really important for them. But also for retailers and consumers at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like you might not necessarily care that we won gold, but you care that we have a good product.
Exactly. That's a good one.
That's what it comes down to at the end of the day, is that we want to make sure we have good products.
Okay.
That taste good.
That's good. I like that answer. So when did the tea come into play? Do you know offhand?
Early 70s.
Oh, that long.
Yeah.
Early 70s. Jeez. And it's been, I think I asked you, it's been pretty much the same recipe, right?
Yep.
And I mean,
yeah, and Pittsburgh's like a weird place in the country. Like we drink way more tea than anywhere else in the country. Like tea from like a store. Like down in the South, like people make a lot of tea, but in terms of like buying a ready to drink tea from a store, like we drink like way more.
Yeah, if I go to a gas station 10 times, I'm getting tea every single time. I don't really drink pop too much anymore. My preferred tea is if I go somewhere that doesn't have I like green teas, like things like that. Like I try to pretend it's healthy, but I know it's not. Everything just is loaded with sugar. But I usually am an unsweetened tea guy. But as far as like so you have let's get back on course with this. I'm making this thing go everywhere. Now we separated. We made the chocolate milk. What's the next thing?
So after there, it gets pasteurized. Basically, what that means is we're heating it up to About 170 degrees, and that's basically making sure we're killing all the bacteria that's in that product.
Yeah. Now, how doesn't it make the milk spoil? And, I guess it goes hot enough where it kills the
It's
bacteria.
going hot enough where it kills them, but it's also fast. So like it's heated up to 170 degrees for like, I think it's like 15 seconds. Something like that. It's got to be above that temperature.
Okay. Huh. That's pretty
So
wild.
basically how milk spoils is over time the bacteria grows and then they make the milk more acidic, which then makes it curdle is what happens. So that it happens over time. It's not like a fast thing.
I don't know shit about milk. Learning something new every day. Now, you also told me about homogenization.
Yep.
Now, that blows my mind. So go over what that is.
Yeah. So
I feel like an idiot talking to you. I hate it.
and there's way more than I even know about what goes on in the plant. Like
I think that's why people like this podcast. It's because it's consumable.
Yeah.
It's like I'm dumb enough for everyone.
Yeah, so homogenization is basically putting the milk under pressure, and it basically makes it so that the cream, it's like the fat doesn't separate from the skim milk, basically. We put it through this big stainless steel machine, I guess, and it puts it under at like roughly 2,000 psi, and kind of makes those, like the fat globules in it, small enough that they don't kind of come back together and rise to the top. It's kind of the
That shit blew
easiest
my
way to
mind.
put it.
It blew my mind whenever you told me that. Never understood how that didn't separate. But so go ahead with what you were saying. I'm sorry.
I don't remember where we were.
I don't remember where we were either.
We were at pasteurization.
Pasteurization,
Is that right?
yeah.
All right. So after the milk's pasteurized, it goes up to some pasteurized refrigerated tanks. And then from there, it gets gravity fed down to fillers and is packaged.
Jeez. And that's now, do you package everything, all your products in one warehouse or one facility? Or you have other facilities that you can package things through, right?
Yeah, so we also partially own a dairy plant in Titusville, Pennsylvania, Titusville Dairy. And up there we make things like sour cream and cottage cheese. And then almost 2 years ago now we acquired Quarter Yawn Dairy, which is in Carrick, just in like the South Hills of Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And we make some other specialty items there like buttermilk and things like that.
Now, something that I brought up while we were going through, I saw the squirt bottles of the Turner's Premium Tea. And I mean, it's lore, it's known that the squirt bottles are the best tasting of all the teas, from people that I know at least. And I asked you why that was, and explain to me your answer.
So those, until they're made at Titusville Dairy, because we don't have a filler that can put that cap on them. It's a little bit of a different cap.
Yeah.
So basically, because of the water source, it tastes a little bit different.
Crazy to me. It's mind blowing. I told my buddy that who agreed with me. He always agreed that the squirt bottles was like that, and I was like,
Yep.
He told me that the water was different, and he was like, "Are you kidding me?" And I was like, "No, that's insane." So do you know numbers of like the quantities of things that you get that go out every day? Do you have a rough idea?
Roughly, yeah.
Like paper pints, like how many a day you think?
Maybe not on actual individual items, but I know like roughly like how much tea and milk we make a day.
How much?
So for milk, when we're busiest during school year, we're making like around 40,000 gallons of milk a day.
That is insane. Now, do you ever run out of product base product to use? Like, is there ever not enough milk to fill your quotas?
No. We work with those 40 farms, and we're committed to take all of their milk from them, whether we need it or not. So we have an excess supply, so that we can handle fluctuations in what we need to make.
Oh, okay.
And then it's called balancing in the dairy industry. So we have to balance any of our excess milk by sending it to different cheese plants in the area. So some will send up to Titusville to get made into cottage cheese. We send some excess milk to La Magna, who makes that ricotta cheese in Verona.
Wow.
And then there's a big Swiss cheese plant in Ohio that we send a lot of milk to also.
Unreal.
And now in the summer when school's out, we're sending lots of milk to those different plants.
Because you're not using as much, right?
Right. But we have to have all those farms for a school year whenever our volume jumps back up.
Now, is there any schools, like, does Turner's have the market on a lot of the schools?
Yeah, we have the vast majority of the school districts in Western PA.
No big deal or nothing.
We have somewhere like pretty close to 100 school districts that we serve, and I was actually thinking about that on my way over here, and it's like how many kids and families like we touch on a daily basis.
That's what I'm saying, man. It's insane.
It's really humbling to think about that. It's like
my high school did. My brother's high school, he went to McKeesport. I went to Elizabeth Forward in high school.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we both had Turner's Tea there. And I mean, every store in Elizabeth had Turner's Tea. That was, you know, it was always a Turner's Tea and some peach rings. And
there you go.
like that was the pair. That was anyway. So you said 40,000 gallons during a school year of milk. What about tea?
Tea and juice is probably like 30.
Oh, so it's almost, I mean, you can still sell a lot of that too.
Yeah. Yeah, we sell more milk than we do tea, but the tea is gaining.
Yeah, I didn't know what would have been more like because I don't know, like I asked you if there was anything that happened, like if you guys ever got any flack from like PETA or anything like that, because you know you hear people like saying like, you know, you're abusing cows or whatever, people shouldn't be drinking milk. You've never had anything like that?
Nope. No, and that's where it comes down to like that animal welfare program we were talking about before, and the fact that we have personal relationships with all the farms we work with. Like we know them, we know their names, we know their families. We've been working with them for generations, so we have firsthand knowledge that they're doing things right. They're taking care of their animals, taking care of the land. There's kind of nothing to worry about in a way because we know them, but then we also have that third party looking in on it to make sure that we are doing things right.
Huh. There you go. Now, whenever school is out, like how much less is it that you guys make a day? Like if you are doing 40, what is it whenever there's no school? Like how much of that is?
We probably go down by like 25%.
Oh, okay. So it's not anything crazy. Huh. Yeah, I mean, like how many, do you have any idea how many stores that Turner's products are in? I mean, I think you told me you had what, 4,000, around 4,000 accounts?
Our total customers is probably around like 4,000-ish, between 4,000 and 5,000. But retail stores, I don't know off the top of my head how many we're in. That's
crazy. 4,000 though. I mean, just in PA. What's the farthest it goes out?
We kind of have like a 2-hour radius, more or less, from Penn Hills. Now south's a little bit less. We go down to like the southern border of PA, but we'll go north the whole way to Erie with our trucks, and then like kind of 2 hours east and west also. Okay. But we did just get our tea in all the Aldi's stores regionally.
Yeah, I have that.
That pushes the. Now we only distribute to like a distribution center, and then they take it from there. Yeah. But that's going down south as far as Morgantown, West Virginia. Goes up
really? That far?
Yeah. Goes up into like Panhandle in New York a little bit, like upstate, like to the western side of New York, and pushes the envelope a little bit in Ohio and eastern, like out to like State College. So
that's crazy. Wow. Man, that's a lot of places. I mean, like, do you look like as someone who's going in different stores and stuff like that? Do you look around and like wonder what they have in here? Like, yeah, you check that out. I'm sure you do.
like even when I'm not working, I'm just like driving around. I'm like I wonder whose milk they have.
Yeah.
Like driving past the store and another weird thing growing up, I guess it's like different about my family is no matter where we were on vacation, we always went to the grocery store to check out the milk, right?
Really? That was a thing?
Yeah. And like when I was growing up, like we'd be at like the beach or something like that. And like we'd always go, I'm like, why are we going to the grocery store? Like we're on vacation. Like what are we doing here? But now that I'm like older and like I'm thinking about it all the time.
Yeah, you
like,
understand it.
Yeah. Like
it's like your mind's always in business.
Yeah, it's like one of the weird things I like about vacation is like going to the grocery store
and seeing different things.
Yeah,
yeah. Now, I usually ask people about like what they do outside, like in high school and shit like that. I mean, were people just ransacking you for tea and stuff like that? Was that something that you dealt with?
Not too much. I mean, definitely sometimes.
Sometimes.
Like I went to a pretty small school. Like I grew up in Murrayville. I didn't go to Franklin.
Oh, okay.
But so I went to a small school and like I went there kindergarten through 12th grade. So growing up, like everybody knew. Like so.
Yeah.
Like,
so everyone knew that you were Turners. Like.
Yeah.
And
so like I mean, people definitely got used to it and like would just like give me a hard time about it, basically.
Yeah. Now. Without the tea and everything like that, what else did you do what else were you doing in high school and shit like that? Like, did you play sports? Did you like what did you do for a hobby?
Yeah, I was into sports. Like I played soccer, like basically all growing up all the way through high school.
Okay.
I did the field part of track and field. So
yeah,
like,
shot put and everything like that.
I wasn't like much of a runner, but
yeah,
I played soccer, but I didn't. My coach probably wasn't happy with me because I didn't run all summer and I showed up to practice the first day and
just dragging ass.
Exactly. Yeah.
Were you guys always if you had parties and shit like that? Was it always just like around?
Oh yeah. You always brought some tea or lemonade or something like that.
I feel like that if if I had that, it would be like bringing flowers to a house or something, a dinner party or something.
Yep.
So you yourself, I asked you, I had to stop drinking the premium tea because there might or might not be some addictive substances in there, and there was a period of time where I would rip through a gallon a night, and
it's easy to do.
And a gallon of tea is, I can't even 1,600 calories. Got to be something, or grams of sugar. Got to be something insane. Now, I think you told me, I asked you, how much do you drink? Like, you drink this shit all the time, and you said, yeah. You said you had to slow down.
Yeah, when I was in high school, me and my cousin decided we were going to figure out like how many calories a day we drank, and like, I mean, it is ridiculous. We were drinking like 3,000 or 4,000 calories a day, and so I've slowed down a lot since then.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
What were you mostly consuming? Tea and chocolate milk,
for the most part. Yeah.
Now,
I mean, I was a high school kid, so I was just like
ripping
I would
through
just
it.
Pound them all day.
Oh, I bet, just ripping through it. Would you just bring a bag to school with you?
Yeah. I didn't necessarily bring them to school, but like our school had it.
Oh, I guess,
so,
your school had it.
Yeah.
Now, what's it like paying for it? What's your thought process of it? Were you just like, fuck it, right? It
is what it is. Like
it's going back to the family.
Right. Like the school's buying it. So like, why would if I'm not going to give it to the school for free, why would the school give it to me for free?
Man, that would be,
that was like one thing everybody always asked me. They're like, why are you paying for that? I'm like, just
I guess it's like Inception. As far as like people, I mean, we talk about Turners being everywhere. As far as like, you see it on Mikey and Bigbob. You see it on, you see the T-Bird driving around. What's it like for people like hitting you up trying to be like sponsors? Like I saw you have a race car driver sponsor. I saw you have, what other type of people do you sponsor?
Those are kind of our big sponsorships. Like we sponsor Carl Bowser up. He races a sprint car up at Lernerville and some other tracks regionally.
Yeah, I saw that car actually for the first time like last year. My father-in-law goes up there all the time.
There you go.
And I was like, yeah, dude, got a good sponsor.
Yep.
Like, get that orange car. That's awesome.
Yeah, so we've been sponsoring him for, I don't even know how long. It's probably been 4 or 5 years maybe.
How did that even come about?
Just kind of interested in just trying to find a different.
You approached them, or you approached him, or he approached you guys?
I actually wasn't doing marketing at the time, so
okay.
I don't know exactly, but basically we were like race fans tend to be like super loyal to the brands that sponsor like the tracks and the cars and that kind of stuff. So that's kind of how we got into just checking out some different local venues and whatnot. And kind of at the time we were sponsoring Lernerville Speedway also, and Carl for his car. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, then we got, like you said, Mikey and Bigbob with the Yinzer fuel.
Yeah, they like what's that like? Like that's crazy.
These guys they're hilarious.
They are hilarious.
I've listened to them for like a decade.
Yeah,
like
me too.
I
remember driving to work. Like, you know, they obviously have the funniest.
Yeah.
They have the funniest morning show, and it's
For
not.
sure.
I mean, you hear Turner's being mentioned in rap lyrics. Like I know 5 rap songs off the top of the hand that just mention Turner's in there. You hear people mention it on the radio. I mean, it's like it's almost like meme worthy in Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
it's like people send that around.
My personal favorite is when you get the Turner's T tattoos. Those are incredible. I love it.
People have so many. Like there's so many of it. And I mean, you being a marketing, so are you the? I feel like in the last few years, the Turner's like Twitter account and like marketing like that has like kind of gotten more like, you know, young and like, you know, kind of playing along with it all. And like kind of like I saw you had that you guys had that collab with Commonwealth Press.
Yep.
I don't know how I passed up them pins like, you know, a while ago, but them pins
they were pretty
insane.
limited. I think we only had like 100 of them.
Yeah,
and they were gone like
they had
like
to. They were such
2
a cool
seconds.
idea, but you know that's kind of like the magnitude of what the logo is like. But another thing I wanted, now that we're talking about that, you also see Schneider's iced tea with the same type of carton. Now, how does that work? Is that just like a carton that you like buy?
Yeah, so like back in the day, kind of when dairies started making tea.
Yeah,
like there was, I think it was called Jay's Teas or something like back in the day, right? So everybody got tea from this one guy. No, I mean it wasn't just like one guy, but like
one guy in his basement.
Yeah, so they kind of had like a standard carton that they just like let people use. So that's kind of why they look similar.
Yeah.
But we've done some things to make them look different so that like people know if they're picking up our product or not.
Yeah, you better know. And I remember
if you don't notice before you drink it, you'll notice it after.
Yeah, exactly. You'll notice it after. It's weird for me to come up with people because like you'll see heated debates on Twitter and shit like that about like, you know, what's
there'll be
better. Like polls and stuff like that.
Like a Pittsburgh meme like Facebook page or something like that. I'll post it every once in a while. Be like for Turner's, like
heart for some other brand or whatever like that. And it's pretty interesting to hear people's like, but like you said, people are loyal to it. It's like if you're a Turner's person, you're only a Turner's person, and like you'll live and die by it.
Right.
And for the other guys, they're kind of the same. They try to compete, but you know, I feel like that it's just a landslide. I mean, it is. It's a landslide. You got Mikey and Bigbob drinking Turner's iced tea, then you're doing
Mike
something
and Big
right.
Bob, these guys are.
How did that
awesome.
even happen?
So we used to do the sponsorship on DVE.
Yeah.
But then, like you said, we're trying to go after a little bit more of like a younger consumer, I guess you'd say. Like me. Like us millennials.
Yeah, because how old are you?
27.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's a young man's game.
Right. So, I mean, and at the end of the day, I mean, sound bad, but I mean, boomers are getting older every day.
They are.
And like, it's reality that they're only going to be drinking tea for so much longer, right? So we got to.
And what 90-year-old person is drinking, you know, this crazy tea? It's probably going to fucking kill them. I mean, you know what I mean? It's
right.
like, these are for young kids. Like,
yeah. Yeah. And it's kind of getting into that. Like you said before, like the Heinz thing, we're Pittsburgh.
Yeah, you're a staple in this. So you're just kind of taking advantage of different places. Now, do you guys have like any like if you guys want to work with people, do you just like approach them and like say like let me ask you a question. So I told you about that Streets on Carson.
Yeah.
You told me you listened to it on Yoga Ralph. It's a wonderful place. Best restaurant in Pittsburgh, hands down, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm actually going to take my wife there for her birthday. I heard about it on your podcast, and I'm like, my wife would love this place. Like, we're going there for dinner.
Listen to me. I'm telling you, you let me know when you're going, and the chef wants to he's going to want to talk to you.
Okay.
He was like, find out what I got to do to get it on a gun. Now, random places, you see it on tap.
Yep.
How does that come about?
So like a year and a half ago, maybe 7-Eleven approached us about getting it on the fountain.
Yeah.
Right. So for like a year or so, we had it like exclusive with them. Like they were the only ones allowed to get it.
And I remember seeing it online, like, holy shit, this is on a fountain. And you're like, what? Like, is that real? Or you didn't know if they just took a label and put it on some random tea or not.
Yeah. But yeah. So, and we're working on getting it on more fountains out there, whether it's restaurants or convenience stores or whatever. But yeah, it's out there on the fountain.
Well, what do you have to do? Like, what's the criteria? You just got to move a lot of it?
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, you got to hit that minimum delivery, and then we got no problem selling it to you. So
now, how does it work on a gun? Is it just like? Do you think it messes with the flavor at all?
It tastes real similar. Yeah, we actually don't have the equipment to make that in house. So we have an outside company make that for us, but they use our recipe and whatnot. So
okay.
Yeah, they use the same tea powder and same like sugar that we do.
Now, so a lot of things in the world today are moving towards like, you know, the healthy option about shit.
Yeah.
You guys being like who you are, do you guys have any like, you know, do you ever feel any pressure to like not, you know, like the tea is like it's tea, but it got a lot of like sugar and shit in it. Now, do you guys ever have any like, do you have any feeling of, you know, trying to make like, you know, whether it be like organic or whatever the hell it is that this world we're in, like everyone wants organic, like, you know, I don't even know how to describe it. Everyone just wants like pure, all this shit. It's like, what do you feel about that as being like someone?
Yeah. So we talked about making an organic milk like a few years ago. But for a few reasons we decided not to do it. One, I mean, we already have like for our milk products anyway, we already have a product that's healthy, that's good for you. It's got like 9 essential nutrients.
Yeah.
So from that perspective, we basically feel that our milk is already super high quality, is very good for you. It's as minimally processed almost as you can get. I mean, it's like the ingredients on whole milk are milk, vitamin D. That's it. And it's a really simple, I mean, to a degree, it's a simple process to get the product pasteurized and put in a package. It's not going through all these crazy processes. Like even some other milks out there are going through like these ultrafiltration processes and like breaking it down into all these different things, and then they like build it back up to what they want it to be.
Yeah.
Whereas we're we're just gonna for whole milk. I mean, it's just milk. Like that's it.
Yeah,
like
and it's just highlighting your good product already,
right?
Rather than, you know, just kind of designing something new,
right?
Now
for some other products, like you mentioned organic, but then we also started making a lactose-free milk that lactose intolerance is on the rise.
Yeah,
like something like 16% of the population is lactose intolerant. So that's where they're either buying a Lactaid product or like that almond milk that you were talking about. So that's where we decided that, hey, maybe this is something that we should look at, so that one, consumers have the option to buy a local lactose-free product.
Yeah.
And people can go back to drinking milk if that's something that they want to do. So
it's interesting. I was always curious because it's like I feel like every part of the world is like you start seeing restaurants that are having like farm to table ingredients, and people want like that.
Yeah, it's huge.
Like the least amount of like hands touching what they're getting and influencing what they're eating. But it's interesting because I mean, like, you guys have a variety of different products. Like, I never know if that's something that like is, you know, relevant in your mind at all the time. Like, and that makes a lot of sense though for you to make that like that lactose free milk. Yep. It's like you have a bunch of people that are lactose intolerant. Like they're not going to buy your product if there's nothing for them to buy.
Right.
So you give them a product to buy. Huh. We're just piecing shit together on the I'll Call You Right Back podcast.
It's all coming together.
It's all coming together. So when did the T-Bird? Because I got another question that said, "Can I drive the T-Bird?" And that was 2 people asked that, and a lot of the same answers. Like people were asking, "How do I get it? Can I drive the car?" All this shit. It's like, when did that thing come into play? Because that's a pretty big. It's a noticeable thing.
Oh yeah, it's huge. So I think we've had it for 14 or 15 years now. I mean, it was an old car when we got it.
Yeah.
And it's like, it just keeps getting older.
And you've driven that thing.
Oh yeah.
And I'm sure it's interesting to drive.
Yeah, it's got like a mind of its own.
You said it just turned off the one time.
Yeah, there was one time I was driving on 22 in Monroeville going somewhere, and it just decided it was done. It just turned off, and I just had to coast it off the road. And there's times that it'll
unreal.
And they've fixed it since then, but it also used to just not turn off. Like if you turned the key to the off position and pulled it out, like it wouldn't turn off. So they had to put a kill switch. Like it's got a lot of problems because it's an old car, but that thing, it's incredible.
Yeah, and you got to keep it. What's it like to drive in that thing? Like, do you have people beeping at you? And like,
oh yeah, everybody's always waving and beeping.
You got to.
Like,
it got to be. Yeah. I couldn't even imagine.
In that car, it's got like the Awooga horn in it, right? I mean, everything about it's just like it's drawing some attention.
Yeah, I mean, and you guys pretty much break that out for like any sort of like PR, things like that.
Yeah, so whenever we'll have like our customers will have like a grand opening or a customer appreciation day or something like that, we'll take it out there. It's got a built-in cooler in the trunk, so we load it up with tea and ice and whatnot and take it out there. And then it goes to other things like parades and it doesn't do great in parades. It doesn't like going slow. Like if there's not air moving through that engine, it tends to overheat and all that. But it goes to all kind of community events as well.
That's unreal. That thing's another staple. That was, seeing that outside of International Village was like, that's what you saw whenever you walked in. Yeah. That car was parked right out front of Corner Pocket, slanging teas.
Yep.
You just
and you got Donnie. Donnie is the guy. He drives it most of the time. Donnie's the man. Like he's always out there. Like,
I'm sure it had to be him.
Yeah.
Because I just remember hey, you want a tea? You want a tea? You want a tea? It's just like tossing people drinks.
Yeah, and he takes around this like a inflatable cow, and he's like playing music and like dancing around with this cow, like tossing teas at people.
Nothing better than that.
Yeah.
Nothing better than
Donnie's the man.
So another couple things that like I saw recently through your posts is Mr. Rogers came and did an episode at Turner's Dairy. Now, that's huge. Now, back then, was there any other dairies around? I mean, or were you guys pretty much like the main? Do you remember any of it? I mean,
that was back in the 80s that I think it was like 84. I think it was that he came to our place and the farm he toured in that episode was in Penn Hill. That's where we were farming and where we still are.
Yeah.
There actually used to be like a ton more dairies in the Western PA and really all over the country. And back when there was home delivery, like kind of each like neighborhood or area of the city kind of had their own dairy,
like milkman delivery type,
right.
2 bottles of milk.
Right. So like you'd have your little cooler on the front porch, and like the milkman comes in and puts them in there, like your glass bottles and whatnot.
Unreal.
So yeah, back in the day, there used to be tons and tons of dairies, but now there's I think there's 6 local dairies in Western PA, which it's kind of an anomaly for the country. Also, there's most states have like 2 big dairies, like a few big dairies.
Yeah.
Whereas here we have a lot of local agriculture in the area. So.
That's a big deal though, Mr. Rogers.
Yeah. Like
that's I didn't even know that, and I was like looking at that post and I was like, damn, like that's crazy. Definitely crazy. So which brings me to my next point. Probably the most, I mean, the carton is iconic, the T-Bird is iconic, the logo is iconic, but there's nothing more iconic about Turner's Tea from an outsider's point of view than the milk crates.
The milk crates.
The milk crates, every single. I mean, like, I feel like if you're in Pittsburgh, you've probably stolen property from Turner's Tea. "Thou shalt not steal" is printed on the side of the old milk crates, correct?
Yeah. We don't. I think it still says like
property of Turner's or some shit.
But it doesn't say "thou shalt not steal" on the newer ones.
I still have a couple of them that say "thou shalt not steal." I think I have one in my my laundry room right there. But you know, that was one of the main things I wanted to ask you about, because like you gotta. I mean, people are stealing them. People are taking them.
Oh yeah.
They think. I feel like the people just think that they're given with a case of tea or some shit. So how much?
And there's definitely stores that are like, when somebody buys a case, like you're saying, they just like give it to them, like they give them the whole deal. But
100%. Now, how many milk crates do you go through a year? You were giving me some figures. Now, enlighten me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so every year we spend like $250,000 on milk crates,
and that is insane.
And that's a combination of people stealing them and like us breaking them. Just kind of what that boils down to. There's a lot of milk crates.
A lot of milk crates,
for sure.
And but we were talking about how they are. I mean, they're probably one of the most useful things ever. I mean,
yeah, just take the black ones.
Take the black ones.
Yeah, they're more useful.
Why?
Because they're not ours. But yeah, you see like you're driving down the street and you see a store with like a wall of orange milk crates.
Yeah, outside the
you
back
know that
or something.
Store has Turner's.
100%.
Yeah.
And are you guys the only ones with orange milk crates?
Yeah, and that's why we did the orange on purpose, so that we'd see them and basically see if our competitors or somebody are stealing them.
So was that the idea in the beginning, as far as like the orange, you know, Hunter Orange? It's the easiest thing to see.
Yeah, and then and another thing we started doing so that like other dairies don't use them is we put on the side of them like Turner Dairy Farms, Pittsburgh's favorite iced tea, which stopped our competitors from using them, so they weren't advertising for us. Oh
man, that's a smart move.
Yeah,
that's good. I like that. "Thou shalt not steal" though was so sick. I mean, that's badass. I love it. My dude from Streets, the head chef at Streets, Matt, he told me one point there was a time where the mob was stealing milk crates, you know, and they were just taking milk crates because people had milk crates just like in their alleyway, like we were talking about. People just put a stack of milk crate outside of their building. So the mob was actually taking milk crates and melting them down and selling the plastic. Yeah, and selling the plastic back to these people. And it was like a huge like scam. And he was telling me this before, and I was like, "What the fuck? Like that's crazy." But I guess the plastic is such like it's a different type of plastic.
Yeah, it's like I don't know if it's necessarily different, but it's like a pretty heavy duty plastic. So I mean, you could definitely recycle them and like sell them to a recycler and make money.
Yeah, it's unreal. Sure. But I guess that was like that was a thing he told me about. But I thought it was interesting. So
that's wild.
Ain't it crazy? He told me that, and I was like, that's nuts to me, because he's Turner's Tea all day at their that's like communion for them up in their kitchen. They have gallons just around there. So I looked again, and while I was doing research, you guys had gotten a Dairy Innovator Award.
Yeah.
What is that?
So that was given out by the Center for Dairy Excellence and the PA Dairymen's Association, which are basically they kind of represent like the farm or producer side of things, but they gave the award for providing tremendous innovation to progress Pennsylvania's dairy industry towards a brighter future. And kind of what that comes back to is the fact that the industry as a whole is declining year after year. So they were looking at basically what dairy processor is doing something that is trying to increase milk sales, something that's different. And that's where like those limited edition flavors and like the lactose-free milk come into play. There's kind of different things that's actually going to get a consumer engaged with the dairy case versus walking into the dairy case and in 2 seconds grabbing something
and
like
just
they
leaving.
just grab their white milk and then go. But with having the limited edition flavors and the lactose-free milk, it's giving a consumer like an actual reason to go to the dairy case to see what's new and not just swinging by it on their way past and grabbing something. So
that makes sense.
Yeah. So basically, the idea is to help drive milk sales.
You want people to want it,
right?
That's pretty cool. Now, is there any other? I don't think did I see any other brands doing that at all?
Like the limited edition flavors?
Yeah, like I don't see anyone doing that.
Yeah, there's a couple others locally that are doing it, and in other parts of the country, there's some other dairies doing it as well.
So, but you said that what was the best seller you said?
Of the limited edition?
Yeah.
Chocolate peanut butter, I would say, has been consistently the best.
And do you guys, is that still limited edition? That's not something you make it all the time now?
Yeah, we're still doing it on a limited basis. So
Okay.
we'll do. Previously, we've done 4 flavors a year. It's like we'll do like one in the fall, one around the holidays, Valentine's Day, and then in the spring.
Yeah.
This upcoming year, we're going to add a 5th one.
Oh, no big deal.
We just gotten to the point where like we have all these flavors that we want to do, and there's only so much. Like if we're only doing 4, like we can only get through so many of them.
Yeah.
So we decided we're going to add a 5th one this year. But
that's awesome. Now, what's the process of like now? As far as like making these milks, you do pretty much the same you would do with the rest of the milk. It's just you're pretty much adding flavor with that big ass mixer.
Yeah, we're basically adding a different flavor
Okay.
to the milk. Same process.
Now, as far as like making like eggnog and stuff like that. Now, eggnog is a completely different recipe, right? You probably have to do different things and make it's not just adding a flavor, right?
It's relatively simple, like the flavored milks. Like it's like I think eggnog's like 6% butterfat, somewhere in that range.
Okay.
But then we're adding an eggnog base to it. Yeah.
I was always curious because like you only have that at one point of a year. Like, what's the process of like the cleanup and like switch over and stuff like that? But I guess it's
the process of cleaning up and whatnot. It's definitely more complicated with eggnog because egg is one of the main allergens.
Oh,
so we
shit.
always have to make sure we run eggnog last, so that there's no chance of cross contamination with other products.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
That's pretty wild. So, okay, now to finish this up, why do you think your tea tastes so good? Why do you? I mean, it has to be because of your quality, right? Like you guys are pretty big sticklers on quality. It has to be, but I mean, if you've kept the same recipe all these years, why do you think your stuff tastes so good?
Yeah, I think it just comes down to the quality, and we've done things like added a big water filtration process to our plant to make sure that we have the same quality of water all the time. So we're not like sometimes in the winter if you get like a real big snowstorm and they're putting like tons of salt on the road, like that can affect the taste of the water, which then will affect the taste of the finished product. So kind of like the milk, we want to make sure we start out with
The
a
best
really
that you could
high
have.
quality, like kind of ingredient, so that we have a really high quality, good tasting end product as well.
So that's where you would get like the variations as far as like different batch flavors. Like sometimes I would get a tea that tastes like just slightly a little bit different than another tea. And like that might be just like, the batch of, time of year, water, things like that. Like it's not a bad taste, but it's a slight difference. Like you could might be shelf
sometimes
life.
that could be the thing. Like, and we like for the water's pretty much all the same coming in now since we've added that filtration process, but it can taste different if somebody leaves it sit out and it gets warm. Like the tea needs to be refrigerated also, just like the milk. Now it's not as sensitive as milk is, but it can still turn bad if it sits out and have a little bit of a different taste to it.
Now, to bring it full circle, before I forget this as well, now can you go over a little bit of the testing that what you guys do? Because that was pretty incredible what you told me. Like I'll let you explain it a little bit better than I will.
Yeah, so the the finished product testing, basically we take 2 samples of every product we make every day, and we take them into our finished product testing lab. So we set one out on the table at room temperature for 18 hours. Basically what that's doing is stressing the milk so that if there is bacteria in there, it'll grow, and then we'll know about it. We're trying to make the bacteria in those ones grow as fast as possible so that we know if there's something the matter with them. And then the second sample we'll put in a cooler at 45 degrees. Then that'll go in there for 7 days, and then we'll test that for bacteria as well. And what that 45 degrees is doing is stressing it. The product should be kept under 40, so that 45 degrees is stressing the product so that, again, to make bacteria grow faster if there is any.
Simulating what it would be like.
Right. Yeah. So, and at the end of the day, in that quality lab, there's really nothing we can do in there to make things better.
Yeah.
Basically, it's a matter of keeping our finger on the pulse, so to speak, of what's actually happening on the floor to make sure that
nothing bad's going out.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Because it really at the end of the day, those products that we're testing in the lab, we sell pretty much all of that before we have test results.
Ah, okay.
So it's making sure that we're doing those little things right every single day to make sure that the product is good going out.
That makes sense. Now, have you ever had anything bad happen? Like any strange catastrophes where like Yinz had, is anything bad happen there?
No, we've never had any product recalls or anything like that.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, is it common for companies to have something?
It seems like you see them a lot on the news.
Yeah, I feel like you see them a lot. But, I mean...
And it could be anything from dairy products to produce to meat. I think I just saw actually today that there was like a big chicken recall or something.
Yeah, Tyson
like
chicken or something. Yeah. It said headlines, check your freezers. Right. So that's pretty awesome. Like you guys definitely have you guys got your shit in line. Almost 100 years. Like what are you going to do for 100 years? Like
it's going to be big though.
It got to be something huge.
Next year's 90. So we got some things coming up that are like some limited edition milks that'll be coming out for our anniversary next April.
Damn.
So that'll be, keep an eye out for that.
I'm excited about it. All right. Well, I mean, I think I pretty much, made you regurgitate everything that you already told me before, and trying to keep it in an orderly manner on this episode, but it wasn't. It was everywhere. But I thought it was really great. Like it's really interesting what you do, and I mean, to be
as I kind of mentioned to you when we were on the tour, it's like it's weird because it's like one of those things where like I'm in it every day. So
yeah, exactly.
Like I kind of get lost in the details, but like.
Yeah, I'm sure that like you don't realize like, from an outside, I always say from an outsider's point of view, because like everyone I talk to, this is your profession. This is what you're in every single day. This is normal. This is, this is what you expect. But from an outsider's point of view, it's like you got Heinz ketchup, which now is kind of going down the rung a little bit since they're not really local. But and then you got Turner's Tea. Like, what other things are more Pittsburgh? The smiley face cookie? Like,
yeah. Oh yeah, you got the smiley face cookie. You got the Primanti sandwich.
Yeah, like you guys
like the iconic like it's Pittsburgh. Like,
that's
what Pittsburgh is,
and that's awesome. And I appreciate you taking the time to come on here and kind of educate me and all the people that listen to this about your products.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. It's awesome.
What I do with all my guests, I do a last segment with all of them called Desert Island Questions. Desert Island Questions, I give each of my guests 3 categories to take with them on a desert island to, watch, read, and listen to. So your first category is things to watch, and I give you 3 choices. So you could take, movies, you could take TV shows, you can take whole series, you could take, if you like Harry Potter, you could take the whole entire thing of Harry Potter, or you could just take one. But you get 3 choices.
Does like Netflix count?
Yeah, whatever you want.
I meant like the whole thing.
No, you can't choose the whole thing.
Let's see. I would say like the Grand Tour on Amazon Prime.
The Grand Tour. What's that?
So it used to be Top Gear on BBC.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I know what that is.
Like that show's awesome.
They have so it's new. It's called the Grand Tour.
Yeah, it's on. So it used to be on like regular TV, but now it's just on Amazon Prime.
Is it the same host?
Yeah.
Really?
Same guys. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
And that's why it's good. If it was different guys, it would be.
I'm gonna have to check that out. I loved that show. I thought that was awesome.
All right, so I get two more.
Yeah, Grand Tour. That's a good one.
So I get two more things to watch.
Yeah, two more things. No. Just two more things to watch.
Two more things to watch.
Then we're gonna go to the other categories.
All right. That's a tough one.
Go ahead, take your time.
Man, what else do I watch on? I know there's other stuff I watch on Netflix all the time.
I mean, it could be anything. I think of things that I take. People. The answers that I get on here are insane.
Yeah.
Some people pick Casino, Goodfellas, Shawshank Redemption.
Oh, that's a good movie, Shawshank.
Oh, that's my favorite. That's in my Desert Island Questions. Yeah. Absolutely.
One that you probably wouldn't expect, and my wife got me into this, so it's a little bit of a guilty pleasure, but the Gilmore Girls is actually an incredible show.
Yeah.
It's growing up, like, it's definitely one of those things that, like, I thought it was like, it's like
it's a chick show.
Yeah. But, like,
it's good.
Like, the humor in it is incredible. It's, like, so fast and witty.
I like the guy in there. What's his name?
Luke?
Luke.
Yeah.
I like him.
Gilmore Girls guy?
I've watched it. I've absolutely watched it. I actually, is her name, what's the younger one?
Rory. Yeah.
Rory is in Handmaid's Tale.
Okay.
Which is a show on Hulu. And I was like, where do I know this girl from? Turns out she was Rory from Gilmore Girls.
There you go.
I have guilty pleasure shows. You ever see a Gossip Girl?
Nah, I never watched that one.
You know what that is, though?
Heard of it, yeah.
122 hours of it.
Yeah.
Watched every single second. I was addicted to it. At one point, I
go.
called off work. And I called off work on a Friday and just spent my entire weekend binging Gossip Girl.
Nice.
Guilty pleasure, but so Gilmore Girls is definitely that's a good choice.
And then, so we'll throw some Penguins in there. I love hockey. I'm definitely like sports wise, like
hockey guy.
Hockey's it for sure.
Yeah, I mean like Penguins go hand in hand with Turner's Tea. Okay, I'll allow that. I'll give you all the games.
All right. Future games, they count? Or am I just watching reruns?
You'll watch reruns. I mean, we can't be too frugal with it all. Okay, so you got, what was the Grand Tour?
Yeah, the
Grand Tour, Gilmore Girls, and the Penguins hockey. Like those are good choices. You got all sorts of, you got all the feels. You got your sports, you got the man shit, and you got some shit to get in touch with your feelings, Yeah. So second category, do you read it all?
A little bit, yeah.
So I do three books.
3 books.
Yeah.
There's a book called Love Does by Bob Goff, and it's basically just like about just like loving on people. Not like a romantic kind of thing, but like just like Mr. Rogers stuff, just like loving your neighbor and doing like kind of radical kind of stuff for them. Like things that like not just like little stuff, but like it's a cool book. And then it's the other stuff I read. I read the news a lot.
Really?
Some reason. Yeah. I'm like addicted to reading the news. Like I just like constantly reading it.
It's depressing.
It is a little bit, yeah.
100%. I can't get into it too much. It spirals me out.
Yeah.
Like it really does. Like I don't watch I don't have cable, so I get most of my media from like podcasting.
Yeah.
I listen to Joe Rogan. He pretty much touches on everything that's important to hear about. You know, if it's something that you need to hear about, you're going to hear about it on there.
Right.
Other than that, I leave the rest up to just I don't need to know about it.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of crap out there.
It's addicting,
that's
though.
For sure.
It's messed up because like I'll hear, some random body found, and it's like, I got to click on it and read about that.
Right.
It's terrible, terrible.
Yeah.
But okay, so we'll give you news. We'll give you some news if you want to read it.
Let's see other stuff I read. I mean, it's gonna sound cliche, but it's like going to the grocery store on vacation. Like I just like read dairy stuff a lot.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Like dairy magazines and like dairy blogs and like Yeah, it's kind of like
Dairy magazines.
I have problems, but
That's all right. I respect that. At least you're a man that you submerge yourself in your work. What's your wife think about this? Is she a fan of like all your products and everything like that? Is she a supporter?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
good.
definitely. She's like, before she even knew me, we met in college, but she was like she loved our lime tea. That was like her thing.
The lime cooler.
Yeah, the
That's
lime
good
tea
stuff.
cooler.
That's good
Yep.
stuff. I love peach. Peach
Yeah.
is my shit. Man, that's so good. That's cool though. What if she hated it? What if she was just Schneider's girl?
Yeah, I don't know if it would have worked.
Yeah, I mean,
She's from like the Cranberry area.
yeah.
So every once in a while, she's like, oh, I gotta get some of that like Marburger's milk. I'm like, you are killing me. You're just absolutely killing me right now.
You're killing me. I don't think I've ever even heard of that Marburgers. What color is it in?
I guess like the chocolate milk's in like a brown label or something.
I swear I've never even heard of that.
It's pretty like localized to like the Evans City, like Butler-ish
I would have
kinda
never probably
area.
ran into it up there.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do we got here? You picked
that was-
dairy, you picked dairy reading, you
Yeah.
picked news, and you picked what was the first book?
Love Does.
Love
by Bob
Does.
Goff. Yeah.
All right. I mean, those cover all the categories. I mean, you get your dairy fix, you get your current events,
Yeah.
and you get in touch with your feelings a little bit. I
Yep.
like that. I can get down with that. Okay, so the third category is things to listen to. So, I mean, CDs, whatever you want. 3 choices.
I would say artist-wise, Imagine Dragons for sure. Definitely they're definitely my favorite band at the moment.
I don't know if I ever got into them that much. What was their hit song?
Like Radioactive's probably like their
Oh yeah,
their, like,
Radioactive.
big
Okay,
song.
yeah.
And then also just like comedians in general. I don't know if I can pick that broad of a
Yeah.
category. But
What kind of comedians you like?
like that? What's his name? Bert Kreischer or something
Yeah,
like that.
Bert Kreischer.
That guy's
He's the
guy's
man.
hysterical.
Yeah, he's
like
the
that.
man.
The story from when he was in Russia, just like
The machine.
I was like on the floor.
Ain't
like,
that insane?
dying.
Ain't that insane to
Yeah.
like to
Did
have
you
that
tell me you
life?
interviewed him once?
We did, yeah. I did a podcast before this podcast 4 years ago, and it was before podcasts were a thing. And I hit him up, and we were like, "Hey, would you like to do one?" And he was like, "Hell yeah!" So we went to his show, and
That's
he
awesome.
took us back in the
Pittsburgh?
green room. Yeah, it was in the Improv, and I go to the Improv a lot. Like I love comedy. That's like
Yeah.
that's probably my main thing. Like, there's nothing I love more than going and laughing. And Bert Kreischer, took me and my buddy and just took us into the green room, and we just immediately started recording. And it was back whenever I sounded like a moron, and I probably don't sound that much better on this episode because I'm so scattered. But it was weird because it's like I listened to his podcast religiously.
Yeah.
I've listened to thousands of hours of him and Joe Rogan and all them idiots together. And it was just so weird to talk to him. And the next year he came back, and we weren't doing the podcast, but he remembered us. Like he'll
sweet.
post a picture of his luggage sometime, and his luggage is covered in stickers, and you
Yeah.
could see my podcast sticker on
Nice.
there. And
That's awesome.
It's cool. Definitely that was one of my most memorable moments. I love him though. He's one of my favorite
Yeah.
comedians. He definitely
We were just like searching on like Netflix and YouTube for comedians one time, and just
Yeah.
like came across them and like
dude, there's so many now. It's
rolling
like
on the floor.
this is the world this is the time in the world that for comedy, it's a resurgence. It's like back whenever they had Robin Williams and like Richard Pryor and George Carlin and all those, like all them gods of comedy.
Yeah.
It's like those guys are the godfathers of it all, but like it's coming back just, if not stronger than it was. And there's hundreds of people on Netflix now because they're
all
so
those Netflix specials, and that's one of the beautiful things about like technology is that
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like no matter who you are, you can have a platform out there, whether
Absolutely.
it's like social media or even podcasts or YouTube. Or
yeah,
like,
it doesn't matter. I'm trying to make my own with this. It's
Yeah.
like, and that's the main thing. It's like I don't listen to the news. I don't listen to anything like that. And I kind of I have this on here. If people choose to like it, they do. If they don't, they
Right.
don't. But comedy is that's a big thing. I'll definitely let you take that. Who else you like besides Bert Kreischer?
definitely. I listen to Joe Rogan quite a bit, and then like I don't know if there's anybody else that like super stands out as much as it's just like typing like stand-up comedy into Netflix and just like seeing what comes up.
Oh, so many people. Nate Bargatze is one of my he's one of mine on my list right now. He's hilarious. He's coming to the Carnegie Music Hall.
Okay.
You should watch his Netflix special because he is hilarious.
Okay. What's his name again?
Nate Bargatze.
Okay.
And he's a clean comedian. It's not like clean, like he still says ridiculous shit, but like he doesn't swear. So like I'm taking my mom and my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law, I've never heard her swear in my life. I heard her say shit and damn before, and like I come from a family who throws fucks around like it's just free, and so I can never take her to anything. And now we're going to this Nate Bargatze, and like it'll be good. It'll fit her.
Nice.
But it's
one we went to see. I think it was last year. Was the what the heck's that show? The Impractical Jokers.
Yeah,
that's always it. I love that show. Probably one. That'll be like the fourth one on my watch list.
That's so good because I forgot all about it. I never watched it. I always thought it was going to be like something dumb, and my wife got me into it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's hilarious. Yeah. Those dudes crack me up.
I will say their like TV show is like 10 times better than their comedy. Like they're funny, but like their show is like way better.
Oh yeah, all them guys together. Sal Volcano or whatever the hell his last name is. He's coming to the Improv, but all his shit got sold out. I wanted to go see him, but it got sold out quick. But I didn't realize like how big they were.
Yeah,
like,
they
have their own cruises.
Yeah, we were at the Paint Can PPG. I mean, it was like
really?
It was like stacked. There were all kind of people there.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, it was big. And they've been there multiple times.
Oh, I guess it's like all of them then, all the Impractical.
Yeah, it was all four of them together.
Okay,
they're like big tour or something.
I didn't know that out of all them guys, I think that who's the short bald guy? Murr, yeah. I think that they said that he was like the richest one out of all of them.
Really?
I was just looking up like figures, and I think that he is like the most wealthy out of all them guys. Like,
really?
Yeah, and that blew my mind whenever I looked it up. But they all work well. So they all work so well together.
Yeah.
Those are three. That's three good choices though. Listen to the Impractical Jokers. Then you got comedians in general, and then Imagine Dragons. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, so second to last question is the death row meal. So death row meal is you could have whatever you want from wherever you want, as much as you want.
That's a tough one.
Oh, it's tough. Man, that's why I ask all these.
One last meal.
You ever see them articles online where it's like, people are on death row, they usually give them one last meal of whatever they want?
Yeah.
I always read them creepy-ass morbid articles. It's like, wonder what John Wayne Gacy had before he died. I read that before bed like a fucking idiot.
Oh, man. Wow, that's interesting to read before bed.
Terrible.
Let's see.
That's the world we're in, though. Everyone's watching Making a Murderer and all that stuff. It's like...
Yeah.
That's depressing shit, and we're all addicted to it.
Right? Yeah,
you watch that stuff?
Just like the news.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I haven't watched Making a Murder or anything like that too much. Man, what would I eat? I don't know if anything like one specific like restaurants food or anything like that, but just like I like a good steak. Like I'd probably just have like a.
That's been a running theme the last few.
Or like good barbecue. I
like a barbecue.
Like my brother lives in Dallas. And like, man.
Oh, I bet down there. I bet down there.
I'm getting down there in a few weeks to see him, and we're going down. I haven't been there yet, but Franklin's Barbecue in Austin, which is supposed to be like
the best,
like the best of the best. Like
man,
it doesn't get better.
I'm jealous.
Like
of that.
I'm pretty pumped. So maybe we'll check back in a few weeks. That might be it. Okay. But I would actually probably say like a good brisket, like smoked brisket from like Texas barbecue.
Okay.
Out of this world.
All right, that's good. All right, so the last question that I ask all my guests is if you could have a conversation with anyone alive or dead, who would it be and why? That's a hard question.
Yeah. That one might be harder than what would I eat? Something that's like been on my mind lately, just because it's been like all over the news, is like Everest.
Really?
Like, I think it'd be sweet to just like listen to somebody that's like summited Everest. Not necessarily even like one particular person, but like
anyone that's done it.
Like since it's been all over the news with
Yeah,
with,
bodies and everything like
yeah.
that. People dying because there's so many people trying
Right.
to do it.
Yeah, there was like 400 people or something that were trying to do it like in a couple days recently, and like
That's insane.
just what like a feat that
Absolutely.
would be to summit Everest. Like
I
don't
did
even
read
know.
some
I don't even know what
depressing-
I would ask him, but like I think that
Just to hear their story of it all would be nuts.
Even how they got to that point of like
why
like,
they
just
wanted
being
to
able
hike
like,
up there.
like the why and like the physical ability. Of,
Oh
like,
yeah, it'd be
being able to-
insane. I just read the other day that whenever they went to, I guess because some more people died up there waiting to get to the summit or whatever.
Yeah.
Like there's this insane picture where like there's someone at the summit and there's literally a single file line down the side of the mountain.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah, that
cleaned
was
up
nuts.
20,000 pounds of trash off
that's
of Mount
crazy.
Everest.
That's like a shame. that
And
there's all that
4
trash up
bodies.
there.
It's
Yeah.
like, that's
I think-
nuts.
I heard that there like pretty much everybody that's died on Everest
It's
like,
still there.
is still there.
Yeah, there's people that are I think there's one guy called like the Purple Boot Man or some shit like that. He's like a mark on the trail.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, like
That's morbid.
Yeah,
Holy
it's
cow.
morbid. But it's what can you do? You ain't
Yeah,
gonna carry
it's
that
the reality.
motherfucker down there.
Yeah.
You'll die. It's wild to think about that though. That's a really good answer. Talk to someone who's done that. You have all kinds of different answers on here. Usually people will say like loved ones, but I always like will ask people someone that like is not like a family member because
Yeah.
it's always interesting. Like I would talk to like, I think about it a lot, and like I would think about I talked to a photographer last week who was actually he was Mac Miller's photographer.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like hearing him talk about that, it would be incredible to just talk to Mac Miller. It would be incredible to talk to like Robin Williams, Richard Pryor, Chris Farley.
Yeah.
It's like I have time to like think about those questions all the time because I ask them to everyone.
Right.
But yeah, what a wild ride. I want to thank you for letting me tour the facility.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was an incredible, that's a dream. That's a bucket list dream. I'm telling you, it might not be nothing
There you
big,
go.
no big deal
Checked
for
off.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, it's one of those things like
Yeah, you're
like,
just
I go
walking
in there
around
pretty
all
much every
day.
day.
It's wild to me, but so take whatever time and promote anything you want to promote.
I mean, yeah, just grab some of that Yinzer fuel this summer. June's Dairy Month, so grab.
Oh, is it Dairy Month?
Yeah, National Dairy Month is June, so
Okay.
grab. Maybe have a little extra glass of milk, maybe a little cereal, with
Yeah.
some milk on it. There you go.
A little cereal with some milk.
Yeah, Lucky Charms, Frosted Flakes. I'm a Frosted Flakes guy.
Are you?
Yeah,
Man, I am not. Not at all.
I
parents
don't
ran
like
me.
healthy cereals. I don't know why. I grew up eating Frosted Flakes, and
That's all right.
I
I
don't-
grew up eating them, and that's why I hate them.
Yeah.
It's like I got them beat into my head whenever I was younger. And then I begged my mother to switch. I was like, stop buying Frosted Flakes. And then she just bought Fruity Pebbles for 6 years. And then I was like, I don't want these Fruity Pebbles anymore.
please go back to the Frosted Flakes.
Yeah, switch them up just a little bit. Yeah, so what's Instagram? Turner's PGH?
Yeah, Twitter and Instagram are at Turner's PGH, Facebook Turner Dairy Farms.
And you're pretty active on social media.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll give you just like a little sneak peek. We have some. I won't tell you exactly what, but we got some pretty cool collaborations coming up later this year for like some other new products and stuff that it's gonna be.
Really?
So keep an eye out for that. It's gonna be cool
All right, so you got to follow
this fall.
at Turner's PGH on Twitter and Instagram, and Turner's Dairy,
Turner Dairy Farms on
Turner
Facebook.
Dairy Farms on Facebook. Man, thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Man, what do I want to say? Oh, I'm nominated. Okay, so I'm nominated for Best Podcast in Pittsburgh right now. You can go on a link in my profile. It's through the Pittsburgh City Paper. Go on there, click the link, vote for me under People and Places, Best Local Podcast. I'll call you right back. You can follow me on Instagram at I'll call you right back. I'll call you right back across the boards. You guys already know. And email me. Let me know if you'd like me to talk to anyone on here. I'll try my best. Like I try to think of people to talk to, and I reach out and I try to make it happen. So I'll call you right back at gmail.com and give me some ideas. But other than that, I appreciate everyone listening, and I'll call you right back.